Hey everyone, this is Patrick Laverne signing in from consultingbootcamp.co. I hope you're having an amazing day. And today I want to talk about a cool topic, and it's the following. So when you're choosing people that you're going to be working with, when you're deciding to niche down or specialize or go with a specific audience, should you go in with your head or should you go in with your heart? Right? And by that I mean, should you go in where you know that there's a need in the market, but it's not something that you're necessarily super passionate about? Or should you kind of go where your heart is leading you? Go in a direction that, I don't know if there's a market there, but I truly, really want to, do this. And I think this is a really important topic because I see a lot of new coaches or consultants out there that are going freelance, so people running their own business. And they basically, they all make the same mistake. And they waste 6 months to a year, and they go with the wrong niche or the wrong group of people. And then they're like, shit, I need to start all over again just because this is not working for me. So when it comes to finding a niche, a little bit of a background here, but when it comes to finding a niche, you'll need to do a few things, right? So the first thing is you actually need to find a critical problem in the market, right? You don't want to be a generalist. I talked about that in a few other videos, because being a generalist, when you're a solopreneur, you won't be able to differentiate yourself from everyone else out there, right? If you want to truly connect with people in this day and age, you'll have to be really specific with your messaging. People will have to look at you and be like, damn, this person knows me really well. He understands where I'm at. He understands my pain, and he's offering a solution that's tailored to my needs. Now, if you're being a generalist, like if you can work with all sorts of people and solve all sorts of problems, there's no way that with one person not having like a huge marketing team, there's no way that you can have a really solid messaging for everyone. There's other reasons why you want to niche down, but I'm just giving you one of the the biggest ones here to kind of make a case for that. So you want to niche down. So typically what people do, they're like, okay, what's the big problem out there in the market that I can solve? And eventually what they do is, their head takes them in a certain direction, because like, oh, I know that there's this problem because, for example, I used to have a job in the corporate world, and I observe this problem, so I know that there's a problem here, and I know I can fix it, right? So it's not only knowing that there is a problem in the market, it's knowing that you can fix that problem. And typically, people take a few weeks, sometimes a few months, and then they're like, okay, like I'll just go with that because this is what my head is saying. This is where I should go to build my business, because I need to get going. I need to sign some clients, make some money, pay my bills, and like I just want to get myself in motion. And funny enough, that's how I started personally, right? I went that route. So when you do this, it's cool. You clear the first roadblock, right? You're like, okay, cool. I have my niche. I know who I'm going to be working with. I know what the problem is, and you go in there and you start working. The big problem there that people encounter very quickly is they realize that it's still an uphill battle. Like when you launch your consulting business, even though you went with your head, even though you identified like a solid problem out there in the market, you're still going to run into many roadblocks, right? You're going to have the roadblock of, how do I really position myself? How do I adjust my LinkedIn or my Facebook profile? What do I write exactly? And then, you're going to stay there a little bit. You're going to try to figure this out by yourself, or what kind of a website do I do? How do I bring, how do I really differentiate myself from all the others? Then you'll find like a competitor in the market, like an industry leader or a few, and they're going to it's going to seem like they are so much better than you, like at everything, at solving the problem, at speaking to these people. You'll be like, damn, like, wow, these guys are motivated. Like deep down, you'll be like, these guys are motivated. Like I'm nowhere near as solid as they are. So then you're going to start asking yourself questions, right? And you're going to keep going anyways, but then people won't come to you, so you'll have to go to them, and you'll start basically having conversations with these people, trying to reach out to them on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on email. And then what's going to happen? Nothing. No one's going to get back to you, and you're going to be tested again. And there's all these moments where you're going to be testing on your road to basically signing these clients and working with them. And even when you sign them and you start working with them, then it won't be as easy as you thought. Maybe your offer, it won't be good enough, and you're going to have to like adjust it on the fly. So you're going to be tested a lot. And the big problem that people make is when they go in and they just go in with their head and they identify like a path, the heart is not there. And the big problem is when you get challenged, when you hit these roadblocks one after another, if you don't really like, if you're not really happy to be in that, to serve these people, if it doesn't sound like this is for you, if you wake up in the morning and it starts to feel more like a job than to feel like a purpose, like a life purpose, then you're kind of screwed a little bit, because it takes a lot of energy. Whichever direction you choose to go, it's going to take a lot of energy. There's no like easier route. You could see a path more easily with your mind, but that path will be just as hard as any other path, right? People tend to grossly underestimate the level of effort of the amount of roadblocks that will get in their way, and they're not prepared to that. And so I'm saying that if your heart is not in it, it's going to be very hard for you to stay the course, to just go from roadblock to roadblock being super optimistic about it, right? When we're passionate about something, we tend to not count the hours. We tend to really go all in, get ourselves immersed in it. Problems are not problems anymore. We're just like happy to toggle a problem. But if you go in just with your mind, a problem is going to seem like this unsurmountable like mountain, and you'd be like, oh my god, like another fucking problem. And people will come to me and say, man, like, Pat, I chose this path because I didn't want to deal with all the I thought it would be easier. So it's like people are making a deal with themselves, like, okay, I'll go where it seems that it's going to be easier, even though my heart's not really in it, but I want this to be easy. And then they found out it's not easy, and they're like, well, why am I even working so hard in that direction? Having known that things would be hard and there would be like a shit ton of roadblocks and challenges, I would have gone where my heart wanted me to go. And oftentimes I have this conversation with people, and they'll tell me, look, like, and I ask them, like, okay, what kind of a business do you want to build? Like, what kind of a coaching business? They're like, well, do I answer with my heart or my head? And I'm like, well, tell me both. And sure enough, like with the heart is basically on one direction, with the head is another direction. And the right path is always to basically make sure that your heart is on board. So don't just do something with your heart where there's no market, because if you do that, it just turns into a hobby, right? No one's going to be willing to pay you. You're going to have a lot of fun, but you won't make any money. You're going to have to get a job back to pay your bills. But what you need to do is make sure that you need to make damn sure that whatever you're choosing to do, you're actually excited about that. Because if you're not excited, I guarantee you're going to give up. And just to give you an idea, like when I started, I come from a corporate background. I was VP sales, business development. So, and I was working for a tech startup. So naturally my head, like right at the beginning, was like, hey, I need to kind of get this going. I need to sign some clients. I don't really know what my heart wants. Like that was my problem. I didn't know what my heart wanted. When that's the case, you can go with the head. So my head was like, okay, I know tech startups. I know some of them need help with their sales. So let me just be like this sales consultant for tech startups. So I started like that. I wasn't really passionate, but I'm like, my heart is kind of like, doesn't know right now. So I'm going to go all in. And I cleared all the roadblocks until I started getting my first clients. I was charging $5,000. I was working like for 30 days with my clients. I was helping them with their sales structure, whatever they needed. Right. And I would sign 2 clients a month. Like that's how I started. That's how I was making my first $10,000 per month. Very quickly, I'm like, hey, I really don't like this. But the cool thing is, because I started having success in that direction, I started having people coming to me and saying, hey man, like I'm also a new consultant. I'm seeing your success. Like, for them, seeing me making 10K per month every month was success. Like, do you mind if we hop on a call? Like, I'd love to poke your brain, Pat, and just see what you're doing different, see how things are going for you. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And I would just go on these calls. And quickly enough, I realized that these calls were actually the best part of my week. I really, really enjoyed doing these calls. And my heart started like awakening. My heart started to be like, hey, like this is really cool. And so I kept that in my mind. I kept pushing my consulting practice, right? Kept having like success to a point where I'm like, okay, I really don't love doing this. It just feels like more of the same. It feels like back when I had a job. I'm doing it for myself, but it's still the very same stuff. And eventually what I did is I transferred I pivoted my business model, right? I went from being a consultant to becoming a coach and helping other consultants basically set up their business, structure their business and everything. And from there, came the consulting bootcamp, my coaching program. I coached like a ton of people this year. And I haven't looked back since. But if I would not have taken action from the very beginning, if I would have just waited until I was on board with my heart, then nothing would have happened. So I guess that's another very important piece to say is, if you're at the junction where your heart's taking you in one direction, your head's taking you in the other direction, focus on what your heart's saying and try to find a problem there in the market that you can solve. But if your heart is not saying anything and your head is saying in one direction, go where your head is talking to you, because it's either you kind of like go in, a consulting opportunity or coaching opportunity, or you get back to having a job. So I'm pretty sure people will say, well, my heart's not into that coaching opportunity or consulting opportunity, but I'll take that any day over having a job back. So take that, do the work, get a few clients, and taking action. Usually this is how you're going to get you're going to get to learn more about yourself, like understand what you like, what you don't like, and you'll get some some feedback. So you go out there, you take action, you get some feedback, and then maybe something happens. You're like, okay, now I really know what I want to do. And you do like me. Like for me, after 4 or 5 months, I did a pivot. And it's okay. When you choose a direction, you can absolutely make a pivot. And that's why you don't want to build this fancy website and everything. You don't even need a website. For the first 10 months, I didn't have a website. I didn't need one. I was on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I was finding people were finding me. They would look at my stuff on my LinkedIn profile. By the way, there's a tutorial on how to set up a LinkedIn profile so that it acts like your website and a cool landing page. So yeah, so hopefully this helps you demystify a little bit if you should be going with your head, your heart, which situations where you should go in with your head, and yeah. So whatever you do, make sure that if you can put your passion behind what you're doing, it's going to be so much easier. Because believe me, whichever direction you're taking, you're going to have, if you want to grow, you're going to have a shit ton of roadblocks, and you need to be really excited about, I don't care when I hit a roadblock, because I'm like, cool, challenge accepted. I love what I'm doing. I love serving my clients. I want to get better at it. So it's like I'm at night, I used to play a lot of video games and watch movies. And I'm like, fuck that. I really want to learn more about YouTube, and I want to learn more about, how to grow a Facebook group. And I want to, I'm going to look at, my sales calls, what people said, and I'm going to improve there. And I'm going to improve the delivery of my offer, right? I'll help my clients even more. And so I'm drawn to all these things because I love what I do. But when your heart is not in, it feels like a job. And when it feels like a job, you're not really improving at the same rate as you could if you were really immersed and passionate about something, right? So hopefully this demystifies things. If you want to have a conversation about this, you can always come to our Facebook group, right? We have a Facebook group called Quest to 10K. There's a link at the bottom. And whenever I do a video such as this one, then we have a really cool, a little live that we do right after. We talk about things like this. People ask their questions, and because everyone has their own situation going on. So we talk about that, and I give them some clarity in what they should do next and stuff like that. So if you want to be part of that conversation, join us. It's really cool. We have a lot of fun. We have quite a few resources as well, really cool thing that can help you and that will help you with your coaching and your consulting business. So feel free to join. And again, if you like this video, if you watch it all the way to the end and you're like, hey, this is actually really useful stuff, please it helps basically propagate the video on YouTube and having more people see it. So sharing is caring. So please just comment whatever you want, and I'll see you around. All right. Have a good one.